So I think that when they come in, you need to be excited. They don't want to work with someone who's like, welcome to camp. You know, this is camp. It has
Yeah.
a certain connotation.
Yeah.
This is not school, this is camp. So I think having that, being excited, and I'm naturally a smiley person, but I think that they read your face. They read your body language. They read how we interact. If I'm like, what are you doing? That's not what I want to. So when Miss Rachel came in, we went over everything. So she knew the expectations. So we were on the same page. We are a team. And then I think the kids fed off of that, and then they knew we're all a team here. The icebreaker serves so many purposes. One, you get to kind of build community amongst the kids, and you can see they start to pair up if they're shy or scared,
Right.
or you got someone like a major alpha, and you're like, okay, I need to know who my alphas are. So your TA is checking people in, and you're kind of watching, like, are they timid? Are they scared? Have they been crying? They don't want to leave their parents,
Right.
so you can give that kid a little extra, time and a little extra loving. And then you have a kid who comes in and they're like a tornado, like, what are we doing today?
Yep.
Super rambunctious, so you have that kid in your mind.
Yeah.
So I just think as the kids are coming in, you don't know what they're thinking until you can kind of start reading their body language, and then you can kind of start to piece it together. I think from the moment they walked in, they knew we were excited for them to be here and that we were going to respect them, even when they had some moments. Like, we're still going to treat you with respect, but you are also going to respect me as much as you can. You don't know me. I'm not your parent. This is the way things are going to go. As much as possible, and if we need to have a conversation privately, then that can happen too. But I think one of the main things is when we set the goals and expectations, we did not set the goals. My only goal, which was happy for them, my goal is for you to have fun. Yes, I have goals, and like it's gonna be like this, but I'm not saying that.
Right.
There was one of the kids who said, I love this, treat everyone and everything like they matter because they matter. I loved that.
Yeah.
That's something that we would have added at the end if we needed to or something like it. They came up with it.
A big thing is like that Monday morning, because it is that first day. You're going to have the whole week with the kids. So you're going to get to know personalities, dynamics, and you're going to be able to help the teacher play off of those. But it's so important that first morning that they come in, what you're talking about with the energy that they bring, because a lot of kids the first morning are nervous. A lot of kids walk in with a couple friends, and then you have one student that'll walk in and not know anyone.
Right.
And so I think it's really helpful in training to talk about what a Monday morning looks like and how important the energy that you bring and excitement that you have helps facilitate kind of clearing the air and making everybody feel like it's a community.
So before I even came to camp, I went through my lesson plan, decided what exactly we're going to do, and then having that on the wall, I think, as a teacher, is really helpful. So and letting Rachel, our TA, know, like, these are the things that we're going to get to, and then the kids knew these are the things that we're going to get to. And when you are lost in maybe behavior or an activity, you're like, okay, yeah, and I still have these things to get to.
Sure.
So you know, like, each activity are they on the floor? Are they with a partner? Are they working alone? Are they on a computer? You need to design the room based on your lesson. But Rachel had them already talking about animals and getting to know each other, which was really good for me because I knew we were going to go right into, I'm really excited you're here, welcome, 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 and now we're going to play a quick game to get to know names and kind of loosen up a little bit.
And I think what you talk about with having a schedule, it's so awesome to be able to point the kids there, because they are wondering, if they get bored or something, like, what's happening next? And then to have that in the back of my mind, I'm able to be like, yeah, get excited for this. We're going to finish up with this task and keep them focused on what they're doing. I think those expectations and where we want to go with the class is so important, because you're right, we are a team. And when I can see that you're excited and you have energy in a way about how you're going to carry the class, then I know where my role and where my place is in carrying those messages over to the rest of the students.
Knowing the person you're working with and trusting them and building kind of a quick friendship was really helpful, so that we could just piggyback off of each other, like switching. Like, I was here, she was there, and at one point we migrated because we needed to, and it was no big deal. I had a class, and they were all very dynamic, is the word I will use. And the second day, I remember going home and being like, we have to do day one over again. I don't think they really are understanding. So the next day, we started over, and I was like, you know what? We sat down, and I was like, how many of you think yesterday went well? And they were, of course, like, yeah, it was great. And I'm like, but was it really? Did you feel like that was smooth? And so we talked about it. I think honesty, like, really was it? And we had to get back to the basics. So some of my morning stuff for that day I had to scrap, but I think it paid off later in the week.
Usually what was really helpful over the summer was we'd get our instructors a week before, and so that weekend you'd be able to email an instructor, and it's kind of nice to know what's going to happen before you walk in.
Absolutely.
Because then when kids are showing up to camp, you can be like, oh, are you coming to this camp? And then you can even have a little conversation about what got them excited about that camp. So it's really helpful to talk to an instructor before, even over email.
Right.
And in that way, when we connect in class, I don't have to be focused on that conversation. I can still be focused on the students and then kind of a quick introduction.
I think if you have an overall, like a standard or something you really want to drive home to the whole group, you do a whole group so that everybody can hear each other's voices and they can kind of piggyback off of each other. Kids who don't know the answer hear the answer. Kids who have no clue what you're talking about hear somebody else start talking about it, and they learn from each other, not just you. So you put the question out, but they're feeding off of each other. Then you break it down into small groups. So if people aren't really coming up with anything, you're reading their faces and they're like, what? So then you have them meet with a partner, and then they can kind of discuss it peer to peer, so that they're a little less intimidated. They can really talk about what they think it might mean. Then you come back to whole group, and usually little people within the group can enlighten the whole group. There were some brother groups, so I knew they probably wanted to be together. There was some singles, so I would assign groups. I think I might have had a rebellion, or temper tantrum, like I don't want to be in this group. So we kind of let them pick their groups almost the whole day. When we did the TA things, they went to me or they went to Rachel, and then when they got into groups, and we tried it out a few times as they were pair sharing, just to see if this was going to work. You could do numbering, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could do sticky notes. My favorite color is. If it's not even, that's when that can backfire on you. So you have to be kind of flexible in picking your groups. Like, these are how we're going to pick our groups, but they might change, based on there's 20 here and 3 here. And I think you're right, though. Confidence is key. If you're like, this is what we're doing. This is it. This is how, or these are your 2 choices, and they're really your 2 choices,
They are.
but they're 2 choices to them. The one thing I think are attention getters, just so they know, like, we need to come together. And sometimes they know, like, when things are getting chaotic in their group, they want you to save them. Like, they're like, this is not working. Can you please stop so we can regroup? You can feel that coming from some of the kids, and you know that from reading them. So I think just attention getters, and there's thousands of attention getters. There was one time we had like a laughter attack over here, and this little guy got louder and louder, and his friend was like, that's pretty funny. I'm going to laugh louder than you. So I had to be a little louder than both of them. When things are not going quite the way you want, and you can see that they can't control it, because you want to give them some control. But when you need to step in, you need to be aware of that. Watch your class. That's just kind of a tip, to be aware of your kids' needs. Use your body when you need to. Get close, get quiet, get loud. Another thing that's been good for me in my classroom, does this make sense? Do you understand? Just those quick check-ins, 1, 2, 3. Are you on board? Getting them to make sure, like, you're agreeing, but it's like signing a paper. When you put your thumb up, you agree to follow these rules. And I'm going to wait till everyone stands up, because if you're not going to stand up, then we need to rehash this, because it's not working. So that was a big one, I think.
And if one kid's talking, you got to wait.
Wait time.
Yep.
They're waiting for you, and it's so hard, like with the robots. It's so much
is.
self-control for them. And so I had a little friend that I was like, all right, you're continuing to bring your group down. I didn't say that. I was like, we're continuing to have some issues. You notice you keep saying me, I, and this is an hour, because they're sharing. So we talked about that, and I was like, I wonder if we need to step out and just kind of have a conversation, the 2 of us. Can you handle this? And he was like, I can handle it. I'm like, but can you really handle it? And he did. We got really close there. But if he couldn't, that's the time, like, I think we just need to have a quick talk. Then you don't ever say, you're in trouble, or come with me. I just want to ask you something really quick.
I like that you checked in with me and that you'd see where things were going, because there's sometimes things that you'll see that I won't notice.
Absolutely. We can't be everywhere.
No, and sometimes things that I'll notice that you won't notice. And so I think that ability to, like, change when you need to, when you talked about rerouting and changing the end of the class so that kids were just having fun before they left. And noticing that there was kind of some tension building, so that really, like, released it. I think that that's really helpful.
Can you talk to us about materials, the importance of the materials, importance of communication, taking time to think through that?
I think the team that I worked with, which was Stacy, who helped write the curriculum, and then Anna, who does the MRF, she makes sure you have what you need or what you think you need, but going through the MRF so there's 2 ways. You may have an MRF that's already made that you need to go through. And I would go, and I had emailed you before, I'm going through my MRF with my lesson plan. So as I go through my lesson, yes, it's there. Yes, it's there. I need this. Knowing what you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it, and having those supplies is huge because you can't just run and get a supply. I mean, it depends on the camp, but some things you can't just run and get. So you really want to have it already. A different building, you're a different spot of campus. So have what you need, have more than what you need, and know how you're going to use it. If there's you'd rather have leftovers than not enough. So I was at Folsom this summer, which was a huge classroom. There were 3 classes, I think, or 2 camps that day, and there was a table with stuff. And so I just got out my lesson plan. I already had my pre-made notes. I'm like, okay, what am I teaching first? And then I went to the table and got that out. And I kind of visualized the classroom. How am I going to have these kids do this? Okay, I'm going to have this there. To keep things the way you had it then the day before, because kids get used to the structure. Like, oh, I know the crayons are going to be over here. That's where they were yesterday. No, not everyone came in like, this is camp. I'm happy. Some kids their demeanor is different. They were like, I don't really want to be here. So our goal was to be like, yes, you do. You're going to have fun. You're going to like this. So I think, that's kind of a goal. Like, we're all going to have fun. We're going to learn something.